Official announcement regarding Moore vs. Alliant Credit Union. To all lawyers, financial institutions, and law enforcement officers. Date, January 17th, 2025. On January 14th, 2025, the Supreme Court of the United States issued its landmark decision in Moore vs. Alliant Credit Union, with Justice Anthony Alito presiding. The ruling declared all forms of fiat currency, money issued without intrinsic value, legally null and void, effective immediately. Additionally, any debts derived from such currency were deemed invalid based on the determination that the foundational practices of modern banking and credit are inherently fraudulent. For full transcripts and additional resources, refer to the official case documents here. Moore v. Alliant Credit Union resource page, thinkingback.blogspot.com/2051/Moore v. Alliant Credit Union resource.tml. Legal implications and obligations. This ruling has set forth clear legal obligations for all professionals operating within the boundaries of law, finance, and public enforcement. These obligations are non-negotiable and must be upheld. 1. Restitution of stolen assets. All property and wealth fraudulently obtained under the pretense of fiat currency must be immediately returned to the rightful owners. This includes homes, land, savings, and any other unlawfully seized assets. 2. Compensatory restitution. In addition to the full value of what was taken, institutions and individuals found guilty of fraudulent practices must provide an additional 20% compensation to victims for the harm, stress, and loss caused by these unlawful actions. 3. Cessation of usurious practices. The Federal Reserve Network and all associated financial institutions are ordered to immediately cease issuing fiat currency, charging interest on loans created without intrinsic value, and engaging in any form of predatory lending. All outstanding debts rooted in these practices are nullified. 4. Good faith reparations and reforms. Complicit entities must fund community rebuilding efforts, establish financial literacy programs, and support initiatives for equitable and sustainable economic systems. 5. Accountability of all complicit parties. Politicians, judges, repo men, sheriffs, and any others who participated in defrauding citizens must publicly acknowledge their actions and contribute to restitution efforts through their own resources or services to the communities they have harmed. 6. Oversight and structural reform. A community-elected council will oversee the transition to a fair and transparent financial system. This council will audit practices and enforce compliance with this ruling. 7. Public reconciliation. Those found guilty must engage in forums to confront those they harmed, fostering transparency, dialogue, and trust restoration. Duty to uphold or dismiss. For those who accept the ruling, if you accept the authenticity of Moore vs. Alliant Credit Union, you are legally bound to enforce its terms. Upholding this decision requires compliance with its obligations and ensuring that fraudulent practices cease immediately. For those who reject the ruling, if you contend that this ruling lacks authenticity, you must apply the same standard to all other claims that fail to establish their legitimacy. Specifically, no claim by banks or financial institutions may bind the conscience of individuals or seize property unless the contract and the intrinsic worth of the currency used are proven valid. The use of fiat currency, deemed fraudulent by this ruling, cannot serve as the basis for any enforceable debt or seizure. Failure to apply this standard to financial claims would constitute hypocrisy and undermine the integrity of justice. Sentencing and compliance requirements. In the aftermath of this decision, the judiciary has handed down specific sentencing terms. These terms apply to all financial institutions, politicians, judges, law enforcement officers, and others who participated in systemic fraud. Compliance is mandatory and essential for the restoration of equity and trust. A new era of integrity. The Moore v. Alliant Credit Union decision marks the beginning of a transformative era. Justice is no longer a matter of tradition, but of truth. Let this serve as a reminder that systems built on fraud will not endure. Uphold the principles of transparency, fairness, and accountability as we move toward a system that truly serves the people. Signed, Office of Legal Integrity and Enforcement, United States Federal Judiciary,